Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Aira Monthly Explorer Call Fireside Chat, live from CSUN. I'm Janine Stanley, and I'm the Director of Customer Communications here at Aira. And though we all are live, only some of us are at CSUN. And we will get to our illustrious panel in a moment. Let me introduce the crew back here in the control tower. We have Sid, our wonderful producer, running the technical aspects of our show. Hey,
Hello,
Sid.
everybody.
Some people may recognize Sid's voice as one of our wonderful agents, but he is my producer tonight. And we have our Vice President of Marketing, Sandy Marcus. Hey, Sandy.
Hi, Janine. Hi, Sid. Hi, everybody.
And live from CSUN, we have quite a crew tonight, and they are from Aira. We have Joshua Fluellen, who is our Senior Agent Manager, and many of you will recognize Joshua as one of it. I think Sid just called him our #1 agent. So we have Joshua, we have Ryan Bishop, we also have Matt Ater from Vispero, and Mike May of Good Maps. And these gentlemen are all waiting.
Exciting, right, everybody?
Oh, beyond exciting. And they've brought the Clubhouse gang. We brought the YouTubers. They brought the Clubhouse. It's going to be a party.
And you know, Janine, actually, I am going to sub out here for a second for a much more important individual who just walked into the room.
Oh, my. Fresh from his session at CSUN, we are about to have, I feel like playing Hail to the Chief or something, you know. We have Mr. Troy Attilio, the CEO of Aira.
I think he's going around doing some meet and greets, and then he'll be right over.
So, well, I'll tell you what. First, we'll get a few announcements out of the way, and then we will go right to you guys. All righty. So, in Ireland, we have had quite a busy month since we last talked to you in February. We have a job posting. So if you are a software engineer or know someone who would like to work for the coolest AI visual interpreting company in the world, we do have a job posting open, and you can learn more about that on our website at aira.io/careers. That's aira.io/careers. And that job is up there. We would love to hire someone to help us with some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. We also want to remind everyone that the NFB COVID promo is still active. That promo is going to be running through the 31st of March, but it will probably continue on afterward. We will let everyone know. And our COVID promo will also continue afterward for folks not in the United States. But for those of you in the US, thank you to the NFB, who is covering the cost of COVID testing with an Aira agent. And we want to remind everybody that when you have to do a COVID at-home test, that there will be a short survey, and we would appreciate it if you would complete that survey with your agent. Those statistics help NFB, us, and all of the other organizations that are advocating for accessible testing. So all of those statistics, all of your stories, everything really helps move the needle on accessibility, pun intended, actually, with CODA and all of the precautions against it. So finally, we have a personnel announcement, and I'm actually going to throw this one over to Sandy because we are pleased and excited to have join us almost 1 year to the day since we announced that Starbucks across the United States would be an Aira Access location. We are excited to have Savannah Massey from Starbucks joining us as our Vice President of User Experience, I believe is her title, right, Sandy?
A little bit different than that, but joined us about a month ago, not quite, as our Vice President of Service Delivery.
See, that's what I get for not writing it down.
That's all right. And in an upcoming meeting, Savannah will join us and chat with all of you. We're thrilled. We can't think of somebody better suited to continue us on our journey, delivering the very best visual interpreting And certainly she is knowledgeable and experienced and so well respected in the community. And it's an honor and a compliment to have her part of our team. So about a month in, and we'll indoctrinate her during a monthly call, maybe next month, if not next month, the month after.
Yep. And many of you may meet her. She may be attending a couple of the conventions this summer. Aira will be at the American Council of the Blind in Omaha, Nebraska, starting July 1st. And then we will be at NFB in New Orleans. Nolans. There we go, Troy. We will be there right after ACB. And then we will also, in about 10 days after that, be at Disability Inn, which is an executive conference, and that will be in Dallas, Texas. And then who knows where we'll be. There will be some more conferences in the fall that we'll be going to, but we are excited because the energy around Aira is just amazing right now. And here is the result of that energy, or the culmination of that energy, I think. I am going to turn this over to our Fireside Chat because they are burning up CSUN. You knew I was going to make that analogy, right? So here are the gentlemen around the cozy fire of their microphones and their mixer board. And I'm going to throw it over to Sandy. I believe it'll be Troy starting us off.
That's right. And
All right. Excellent.
exactly. We're going to hand it to Troy, and if there's any detail support anybody needs, shout out to me.
Well, first off, it's great to have everyone here, and boy, these mics are really powerful. And I'm sitting across from Mike May, right? And so, and to my left is Matt Ater and our product manager Ryan Bishop. But all I can say is it's so great to be in person at CSUN with so many smart, bright, motivated, everyone talking about accessibility and technology. Of course, we're here to talk about Aira, but right now I'm sitting in the Vispero mega booth, like, you know, at this place is amazing, and just glad to be here. I just finished a talk, so I might take a minute to like get my words back.
Wind down.
So let me turn over to Matt to introduce himself.
This is Matt Ater, and I'm the VP of Software for Vispero and Corporate Business Development, and I'll pass it to Ryan.
My name. What mic is it?
It's probably the one by Mike.
Is it? This is the one by Mike, but this one's not on either.
Everyone.
Not that one.
Is it this one?
Not that one. It's this one here.
Is it this one? Okay. All right. Hey everyone. My name is Ryan Bishop. I am with Aira, and happy to be here with you guys today. And usually I'm on the other side running tech. So thank you, Sid. You guys are awesome, and I'll hand this over to Mike.
Thanks for the mic. Mike May, Chief Evangelist at Good Maps. Thrilled to be here, like Troy, very pumped about being together in person. We have our badges on and we're official and we're mingling, and half the fun is the people you bump into that you didn't even know would be here. Mm-hmm. So we're having a great time, and thanks for the opportunity to talk about Aira.
I don't know who's next.
Nobody's on my left.
Okay.
That's the circle of the table.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly. That's everybody. Troy, it's Sandy. You know my voice. I was going to say, if you are still winding down from what I hear was a terrific session, I'm happy to get a little ground setting underway and then pass it to you for questions. Entirely up to you.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to start maybe with the folks here around the fire. Like, what are some of the things that you have seen that surprised you? Now, you know, I first talk about, I'm just surprised at how much energy I get from being around people and how much energy I lose from being around people at the same time. It's the end of the day. But what are some of the things?
Well, the first thing that surprised me is I had to be the keynote. That surprised me. Last minute keynote.
When did you find out?
I found out on Sunday evening at around 9 p.m. on a flight. I was on a flight. I said, well, I have to stop drinking this, and I now have to focus on writing this. So it was a fun challenge, and if you didn't get to see it, it is on YouTube, and it was a lot of it's so moving to be up on that stage with all of these people.
Yeah, I recommend checking that YouTube out. Like Matt revealed some secrets about past CSUNs that I didn't know about. That some of them are kind of humorous. So I'm not going to steal thunder. I really recommend folks go watch it, especially towards the end of his keynote.
I didn't have Aira back then to tell me what color my shoes were, so I had I had a black and a brown shoe for an entire week.
Well, and pretty
Nobody-
amazing to be on stage with Harry Murphy, talk about the history of the organization and these conferences.
Yep.
Sort of the new and the old together on stage.
Yeah, wait, who's, okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about age when we do
No,
that.
no,
right?
that's-
okay.
it's
That's a different story. Okay.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And it's because they talked all the way back to like 37 years ago for their first CSUN. And then, of course, we got to talk a little bit about, the new, I don't want to say the new normal because I swear I'll just kill myself for that, but getting used to conferences that are, the number of people here is, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not probably what, it's better than 2020, I would say.
For sure.
It's not 2019. But let's say this, it's better than 2021.
Would you say I was
Which was
going
virtual.
I was going maybe 75%? Would you? 60?
Oh, no, you mean of what?
I mean, it's just population of people here, like number of.
I mean, I don't know that it's hit 1,000. Do you? I mean,
No,
would
I'm
you?
sorry. I was saying there's 75. I don't know what it usually hits, but for me, we're about 75%.
75%
No.
more.
Capacity.
No.
No,
Yeah. You'd say
I think
less.
we're 50%.
Maybe
50%?
50. Yeah, there's
Okay.
usually more people. I mean, it's usually pretty crowded. I mean,
What was the first year Aira exhibited at CSUN?
2015.
15?
We lurked 2015. I think Saman just kind of, couldn't afford to pay for any passes, so he was. I think he snuck in and he was trying to talk to people, hustle Aira, like just get some interest. But I think the first official where we actually paid for a booth and had folks was 2016, which
because
is the year I joined.
I think the first real conference we did 2015 was NFB convention.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the first CSUN was 2016, yeah.
The thing I love about this conference is it is really a tech conference, and we're all sitting around here, we're all technologists, applying it to accessibility. But you meet so many people with so many creative ideas about what can be done to improve accessibility. Mike, you should share a little bit about you kind of led us off with the Good Maps talk, and it was really about all the different technologists who are applying different, computer vision, different ways to solve for independent travel. Like, I would share with the audience a little bit like what went on in that session, what we learned.
Yeah, we had a indoor navigation symposium, but it was a little broader than that about the importance of navigation. And it was the coming together of a number of different companies who you would call, in this field, a lot of times competitors and collaborators are one and the same. So we had a room full of people, 40 or so in the room, another 40 or more online, people who have a passionate interest in and expertise in navigation, particularly indoor navigation, and we all got together, and it was nice. There was probably about 8 or so speakers, and all from slightly different perspectives that presented what they knew about both the current state of indoor navigation, but also what's coming down the road.
Mm-hmm. Matt, what maybe a little plug for Vispero. I haven't had a chance yet to.
Yeah, I mean, we have a room the size of a football field here, and I have to give the credit to the marketing team and all the work they did to this. And between that and 3 large booths in the exhibit hall to cover all those brands, right? Because you got the Freedom Scientific, Enhanced Vision, Optelec, and TPGI. And the sessions have been unbelievable. They're just the number of people. We were in here standing room only on several of the sessions yesterday and today. I did one, so along with the keynote yesterday morning, I did one on a new feature in JAWS called JAWS Connect. Mm-hmm. And it's meant to allow any JAWS customer to provide feedback to the website that's being monitored. So not all websites are supporting this because they have to monitor using the TPGI platform, but once they do, they turn on that monitoring. If you're a JAWS user and you go to tpgi.com and you come across something that you don't know how to use, or it's not working correctly or working as expected, you don't need to know if it's an accessibility problem. You just need to know you couldn't use it. Mm-hmm. And so connecting back to the user to provide feedback is something we're doing. So on tpgi.com, you can see a sample of this just by bringing up your list of links when you hit on the page, and the top link will be provide feedback using JAWS Connect, and then you'll fill out a form, hit submit, and it goes into the database to be looked at.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so the first place you can do it is on your very own site. Is there another well-known site that we can go to?
We're not disclosing all of that stuff, but we should put it on Aira, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right, let's do it.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's a mechanism to provide feedback to customers, or for customers to provide feedback to a company, and that was kind of I didn't talk about that product. I talked about it on one panel. I didn't talk about it in the keynote, but my theme of the keynote was it's all about the user. Mm-hmm. And we need to focus on the user. We need to listen to the user, give them a voice, and we have to go where they are. And an example now, we're on YouTube, Zoom. We're plugged in through Zoom. I don't know if people are attending through Zoom.
Yeah, there's tons on Zoom.
Tons on Zoom. It's over 80 at one point. I don't know what the number is now. Yeah. And then we have the Clubhouse room going, and so we're trying to reach multiple audiences, and that's getting to the user where they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I think about what's powerful for Aira, like we're always trying to broaden coverage by, enticing organizations like Starbucks, organizations like Target to use Aira for their customers, right? And sometimes we can talk all about the technology, all about how it works, but the minute we roll some video with permission of a user about them struggling with a website accessibility issue, that's when the heart starts pounding. That's when they become interested, because it's a human problem. It's not a technology problem anymore. And and so I can't agree more that kind of the more we can share as a community about where those problems exist, we'll both get investments, but we'll also get creative people like we find here at CSUN solving problems in ways we might not imagine.
Well, one thing I'll share, and I don't know that everybody knows this, but we do have a partnership with Aira through Vispero we have kind of a two-part partnership.
Mm-hmm.
One is we have the employee program, so for organizations out there similar to us who have blind and low vision employees, we provide Aira for all of our employees who need it. So that's a great service for them. They may use it for commuting, they may use it for expenses, they may use it to go to the grocery store. I don't care, but it's an added benefit of working for us. And then separately, we also work with Aira agents, can provide support on our products. They may not be the expert on JAWS like our tech support, but we're also not open 24/7. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they need it reinstalled and they need a sighted assistance to do that, and the Aira agent can assist with that. So, we're partnered with Aira on the Vispero side. So if you call in, we cover the cost of those calls, assuming it's an actual JAWS bug and not a website bug. Yeah. But it's a great service to our customers to be able to make sure that if they're both our customers, and they can be Aira's customers as well.
Yeah, we love backing up that use case. So the essence of the talk I just gave was both employment, but it's also featuring our first ever desktop solution. So Ryan Bishop's been busy as our product manager. Our development team has been busy because we know there's so many use cases on the desktop, and instead of bringing and using the phone to then connect to an agent to then bring up TeamViewer, what if you could just hit a hotkey? You're already connected. You hit another button, you're sharing your screen. But when I think about JAWS, JAWS is great. It reads the text. It can operate on so many sites, but sometimes your computer goes a little haywire, and that's where Aira's there to back up Vispero, because you need to get JAWS back up and running. Mm-hmm. But I kind of can't wait to see what people are going to do, because one thing I've learned about this community is no matter what you design, no matter how much research you do, the community will find new and unique ways to get things done. And so Ryan, how many people have you shown the desktop to today?
It's had to be about 10 or 20 people so far. People have been really excited. I think, we've gotten so many, even from the agents, right? The agents who have connected with those people, the camera's so clear, the audio is wonderful. We've had people who say, I could totally see myself using this with a document. I'm in a school. I was talking to actually somebody today who was here with their college disability resource center person, and they said, this can totally be used in class. I can read my instructor's PowerPoint. I can do all this stuff. So, all this stuff without a phone, people are seeing that this is going to be, absolutely wonderful. And, we get to share a screen today too. So, which was exciting, and it evolves every single day. And I'm expecting, to really see it.
Hey, a use case, again, like this is what happens. You get out in the field. I'm sitting there with Carla, the agent we're prepping for my presentation, because she was literally part of the presentation. She's looking at the screen that I'm presenting to the crowd, and she's a better agent at describing images. There's images on the screen, right? And so when you present, you need to describe things. But now I had the expert, like I didn't have to use my brain as much. And we got better descriptions.
That's a good thing, by the way.
It's a very good thing. It's a very limited supply, my brain. So we're talking, and I don't know how it came about. I was saying, oh, by the way, what about reading paper? Like, this is how new the alpha product is. We've been so focused on accessibility. We've been so focused on how you log in, how you start a call, how you give feedback. I said, hey, can you read this piece of paper? And off she goes. She's reading the piece of paper. And then I realized, well, I've seen a lot of video. I've seen a lot of our agents working with our customers. There's a 50-50 chance that the paper is upside down, right? Because it's often not oriented.
I figured they flipped their monitor over. Is that how they do it?
That would be, that's another creative solution. I tell them to stand on their head, but they don't listen. Either way.
They'll tell you to flip it. I mean, they're smart like that.
They'll tell you to flip it, but you're using two things. You're using your hand to hold the camera, and you're manipulating the piece of paper, right? So it's a little more work.
It's easier. I mean, you don't have your phone
I'm
in your hand.
I'm literally holding it up to the screen and using two hands. I just flip it. It just was, I don't know. For me, it was more
honestly,
convenient.
and when you think about it, you're holding your paper with one hand, and the paper's trying to fold. Maybe you have one of those letters in the mail that they folded 20 times over, and you're trying to read that, and agents like that flattened out.
I think receipts are a good example. I mean, I constantly get a receipt. I'll fold it up, stick it in a pocket, and then by the time I need to deal with it, it could be the backside of this receipt before I do it. I'll tell you two of my favorite stories of using Aira. One was for Christmas, I got a new office chair, but it came in a box in pieces. And so the Aira agent, because I had to be on the floor with all the parts, I took the camera, and I think this is a great clue for people. You don't have to hold the camera every time. So what I did is I actually got a little stand that was in my office, and I leaned the camera pointing down at the ground so that they could watch me do the work, but I didn't have to hold the camera at all. And basically they looked at the box, they went and downloaded the manual onto their computer, and they walked me step by step through all the parts of the little screws and the nuts and the bolts and all of that stuff, and I put together the chair. The second one is I had to put together a dog gate, a gate to keep the dog out of the kitchen or in the kitchen. And again, I didn't know, I put together several of these, but it was several years ago, and you had to match up all the parts, and then at the end, you're always like, well, why do I still have one extra screw? We've all experienced that. But they're so patient, and in that one, I used my daughter's selfie stick that had legs on it. So I put the selfie stick and pointed, because I was on the kitchen counter putting together this gate. So again, I'm hands-free, able to work with my hands, and I got little bowls, and I put all the screws in this bowl, put all the nuts in this bowl, and then we worked and, cranked it out. And look, if I asked somebody in the house to do this, it's going to get done on their time, but I got to do it on my time, which is part of the independence and the beauty of using Aira.
Yeah, one of the things I love is that using Aira in all sorts of situations, up on the roof, at a cliffside, and nobody ever says, "Are you sure? Are you okay with that?" Because in the real world, people would be saying things and taking away from your experience because they're questioning your ability to be responsible. But so far, no Aira agent has done anything. Maybe a few little quiet gasps.
I think, Mike, in the early days, we actually had to focus on training that piece of it, which is, in fact, there's what do we used to call this? We had to start screening out people that had, we called it the dad complex. So you get really intending agents, and they were often older males, actually, right? And might have been parents at some point. And as they were watching the video of someone navigating, in and around things, they would start saying, "Oh, look out," or "Slow down," and that's not Ira's job. Ira's job is to provide the information, and so we now.
And then we put a mute button on Dash.
But that's for sure.
I think also for your kind of task, Matt, I'm really looking forward to camera glasses, because then the camera's mounted on your head. Wherever you point your head, where the camera's looking, you're hands-free.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And I mean, when we get back to that mode, that's great. But I think the main thing for the people listening is there are creative ways to be hands-free. I mean, the one on my desk is actually, all I do is take. It's a one of those stands you put your phone on to charge without a wire. What do they call it? Not self-charging, but what do you call it? Wireless charging.
Yeah.
But it's a tilted one so that you could be looking at your phone if you're sighted. It sets it at a tilt. I can't read it, but I set it on that, and then I just turn it around to turn on the Aira, and then they can look at whatever's in front of it, and it's perfect.
Well,
it's totally perfect.
I had a guy who was using Aira one time, and he gave me a great idea, because he said, I take Aira grocery shopping, and I think somebody had asked, we were at a conference, and somebody asked, how do you do that, without the glasses? He said, well, my phone has a pop socket on it, and I just take the pop socket and I put it through the little holes on the cart, and then I push the cart.
You could do this with driving a car. Just think about this. You just pop socket the.
I haven't heard of this. So wait a minute. So you put it on the front like you would a headlight, if you will?
Yeah,
or
like a headlight. Yeah. You just put the pop
cool
socket there, and then the agent can guide the cart and find your items at the same time. And I was like, that's really smart.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Troy, you asked about some cool things here at CSUN, and one of the things about having a booth is you don't get around as much as when you're on your own. But I did hear about and went to see 2 different graphical Braille displays. And as we all know, we've been seeing these for years and years. APH had one, the graffiti, but the Dot Company, who makes the little watch, has one that's pretty well along. They're not disclosing the price yet, but it's about a 6x8 pad, and you can feel pictures. I was interested to feel the icon of the message on your phone. I never knew what the speech bubble looked like, and I felt that. There's another company with less developed of a tactile pad, and they're called, I think, just Braille Pad, and it looks similar in terms of the pad size. They say they're going to be cheaper than the other one.
Hey, I want to ask you about that, if you guys don't mind, because it's just fun to talk about. So what I'm about to talk about is just in my head. It's not on a roadmap, whatever. But
nobody, don't tweet about this.
Don't tweet about this. But I just got to thinking. Let's say you had one of those, Mike, one of those 2 displays, and let's say, because the display you buy, it's next to your computer. What if we also, the agent could remotely draw on that, and let's say you were trying to figure out what is the airport layout, right? And they could take an image and take the high contrast image of a floor plan, and then they could augment it, because sometimes when you do the high contrast, you get little gaps. But either way, another way to communicate between the agent and the explorer could be through one of these Braille displays.
Well, and absolutely. And you think of zooming in. One of the things with graphical information or tactile information is it's too dense.
Yeah.
You've got to spread it out. You need some open space in order to get the overall picture. So the sighted agent could zoom things to a level that would be appropriate for the resolution you need tactily.
Something else I saw on the floor were 2 very small handheld, smaller than a cell phone, or smaller than a large cell phone. I guess it's more like maybe the size of what's the smaller one that Apple just released?
Well, the first iPhone.
The SE.
The what?
Yeah, the iPhone SE.
Oh, SE, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a Braille keyboard for Bluetooth keyboard to type into your phone. But the difference is the cells the keys were laid out like a cell, and basically you would hold it in your hand away from you, so you'd have your left and your left hand and right hand would be meeting in the middle with the six dots to type. It's a very unique kind of experience, and I'm still not sure how comfortable I was with it because I'm so used to typing horizontal, not vertical like that, if that makes sense. But it's still, I mean, we got to see where people go with something like that, because the idea is that you don't need to have something on your lap. You could be holding the back with your thumbs and you're typing on the front. There was a separate one next to them that you could communicate to somebody who is deaf-blind by speaking into it, and then it basically had the 6 cells, or the 6 dots, and each one of them raised, they had little braille like sensor, not braille, but it kind of reminds me more of, Mike, what was the 70s thing that popped the images up, the Opticon. It felt like that on each of the keys. So you'd have your 6 fingers down on the cell, and if an O would appear, it would vibrate on each one of those tops of those keys.
Yeah, that was the Braille Pad company.
Yeah, and that was kind of neat. It was different. Yeah. It's totally for deafblind because the intent is to, and it doesn't go really fast. So but if for somebody who reads Braille and they don't hear, it was kind of unique. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
Very good.
It's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Well, excellent, guys. This is cool. It's weird to just do like almost like a podcast with 4 people around a table, and of course we do have everybody on the Zoom as well in Clubhouse. But
They were there. I hope we didn't lose them.
no, I think we're still on. I think we're still on.
Drive them
They're just-
away.
You know, we have our booth happens to be one of the booths that are hanging out right next to the Sony booth, and you know, there's so many things going on over there, like, you know, their 2022 TV with Google in it now, and, you know, being able to have talkback on a TV. Just pretty amazing to see that. I think there's, you know, so many other booths, so many other pieces of technology. I think one of the things I really love about coming to this conference is just seeing all of the new innovative ways people have decided to try to do something and to bring it to market. You know, I think people really use this conference to try to test out their new technology, and you get to learn a lot and see a lot. So definitely a lot.
So I don't know, Ryan, have you tried the McDonald's kiosk that's in our presentation? Right, it's actually probably 20 feet away from.
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah, you got to do that too.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that.
Jaws is running on the McDonald's kiosk.
Oh, I
and,
see it now.
Yeah, you see it over
it's
there.
very clean looking.
You can order. I just can't guarantee you're going to get the food. Okay, right here, because there's no delivery. It's not like connected to Uber Eats to have your food
That's
delivered.
really
That
unfair
would be cool,
because
though.
I didn't eat lunch, and I'm actually kind of hungry.
He's seeing the flashing on the screen with
Now I
his
see
vision.
the
He
Mc-
sees
a
it's
McDonald's
passing like it
yellow.
says, "Do you
Yeah.
want fries with that?" It doesn't say that. I'm just kidding. Sandy, you like that?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
okay.
I can smell French fries now. That's all. That's all I'll be able to smell.
That's
all
awesome.
evening. You guys all have such an incredible perspective. We're so honored to be able to chat with you. Somebody talked about, there was one surprise, which of course now I can't think of, but one surprise surface. Any other big surprises, things that you just were either not expecting to see or expecting to see but haven't?
So I think what I like is that CSUN's trying to get more engagement at night for other activities. Just our own team put together an accessible escape room for people to go through. That's been a lot of fun. We've seen people go through it, and there's a leaderboard. So we'll see how the Aira team does tomorrow afternoon, if they can beat the fastest team. I'm
Can
not
we
sure.
bring our agents? Is there any rule?
You can dial into agents, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Ryan should totally have Aira running during it, because why not? You know,
Why not?
get their help and experience with you. And in fact, that's what we did in 2020 when we didn't have as many people to support it. We had Aira in there for everybody. But they also had tonight. They have bingo. We have a reception tonight. They had a cocktail party last night, and then I think tomorrow night they're doing karaoke. So those kind of activities are kind of fun to kind of get, again, people back together and networking as well.
Yeah, my favorite is probably running into people that you don't know who's going to be here, who's going to be remote, and they have these on-demand elevators here, and you've
Oh
got
my
to.
goodness.
That's another accessibility story.
It's
but
not bad if you hit
have
the
to,
little button.
You have to lean in because it gets loud in there to hear.
Oh,
it says
that part.
go to car C.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning in, and this other blind guy's leaning in. We're bumping heads, and finally I hear his voice, and it's my buddy Paul Parvano.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's how we met. Literally, ran and bumped
That's
heads
funny.
on the elevator.
Yeah, it's an interesting elevator system. I mean, it's having no buttons in the elevator at all, and having a panel outside that you push your button and your car just comes and it takes you to it. It's interesting.
I'll be honest, it makes me a little uncomfortable. In fact, I keep thinking that's going to be the Vispero escape room. I'm going to get in the elevator and it's going to
So
stop.
you know what the escape room is? If you can't get out, you're at CSUN until next year. Now, see, people actually have anxiety around escape rooms because they actually think you're locked in a room.
Yep.
And that's not the truth. It's just it's a round of puzzles, to solve. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I have not seen these elevators yet. I haven't traveled in 2 years. I'll start
But
traveling again.
they've been everywhere, Sandy. I mean,
I
that
need
is
to
Sandy
travel.
talking, right?
Yeah, it's Sandy.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right, Matt.
Like the Marriott Marquis in New York City has these elevators.
I just haven't traveled. I
Yeah,
need to get
yeah.
out. I'll start
I'll tell
traveling.
you
We need to get you out.
I'll tell you the one thing that got me. I don't know if this is the same just on my floor or whatever, but the keypads flipped when you're on certain floors. So where number 1 is usually at the top left, I figured out that on the other floors, number 11 is on the top left. And
What?
So, yeah, on the floor that I'm on.
Okay, now I think somebody's messing with you. I don't think that's possible. Really?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Brian.
Number 11 is on the top
I am
left.
now going to take a tour with. You know what? We should have an agent confirm this. I don't know that I trust him on this
Are you
topic.
talking about the number
and
keypad
Ryan?
or the screen?
The number keypad, because I pushed the voice thing because I was trying to go down to the lobby.
You just hit it twice, so that's why it said 11.
Because there is no 11. there's 1 through 9 and 0.
Well, it said number 11, floor 11, when I clicked it, go to car F. And I was like, what? I pushed 1. What are you talking about? And
You must have pressed it
I think
twice.
it's double.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan,
You-
I would,
no, because then
Fat fingered it.
Because then I went to the very bottom left, and it said lobby.
Oh well, I bet you the bottom left is always lobby.
It is.
I would, if
I'll
I
have to
were
test
you,
that
I
again.
would.
Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah,
test that
if I
again.
Now,
was-
I want a video of this. Let's get a video of this.
Okay, yeah. We'll
Ryan,
go
if
up
I
there.
were you, I would pull Marty aside. This has Marty all over it.
Absolutely.
But on a serious note about the elevators, far be it from me to criticize whoever designed the elevator interface, but you can't help but question at CSUN when we're talking about accessibility and user interface and customer experience, you can't help but question what process did they go through and who, right, did they use to test this interface and decide that it was great for everybody.
These are better than some. Some of them you have to push the button, and if you're on the 45th floor, you've got to scroll. You hit the button 45 times and then release it at the right spot. So these are actually better than some. But you know
Those
what
countdown ones are terrible.
What we did with Good Maps is you get turn-by-turn directions to the elevators, and then there's a detail button that gives you a description that says the keypad is on the left and the right. Hit the bottom button for speech. Cars A, B, C are on the right. F, E, D are on the left. And so you get a
Did
little
you really
bit of quick
do
orientation.
It does do FED because it's
Yeah.
backwards on that side.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weird
Yeah.
because it's.
Well, it
what
goes
does,
around counterclockwise.
counterclockwise,
Yeah.
which is always
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love the elevator. It really messes you up from a UX perspective. I got in an elevator and I'm looking for the odd numbers. There should always be on the left, and the even numbers should be on the right if it's two columns. But this elevator bank was 2, 4, 6 on the left, 1, 3, 5 on the right. And I couldn't process that. Does that make sense? It's like
Yeah.
that's not the way I process, an elevator. But another one had 1 through 11 on the left, and then 12 through 22 on the right. I can't do that either. Like, that's not the way I, run an elevator. I expect, odds and evens, or something like that if it's 2 columns.
This
But-
just gives you an example of blind people brain power. That's what we have to waste our brains on, is keeping
Mike,
track of all of
I'm
this
literally
stuff.
thinking that right now. Like, I would have never thought I'd be at CSUN talking about
Elevator buttons?
layout, right? But
Yeah.
here
That's
we
why
are.
we have Iras. If
Yeah.
you want to rest your brain, call Ira.
Yeah.
I mean,
there you go.
I'll tell you though, when you go and look at it, you'll be like, who was the moron who laid this out?
Well, you've ruined me now because I'm going to spend more time
Looking at elevator buttons?
And then you're
elevator
going to
design.
miss the car.
Yeah, and then I'll miss the car.
You guys have no idea what you've started.
And then he's
I love giving all this trouble to Troy because he's just going to go stressed out by all this elevator stuff. I got to think about the next thing to do this to him on.
Well, you do share with me because you share pictures. In fact, we were out, where were we, at the Marlin game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we were at an inaccessible. Was it a soda vending machine? That's one of your hobbies, is to take pictures of
Inaccessible touchscreens, yeah.
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 And you can't. You go
you,
to
Wendy's.
there's a one of those sandwich shops. It's not Wendy's. I don't know what they do, but there's a sandwich shop. I think it's like Fireside Subs, or was that Firehouse Subs?
Yeah.
And they have a Coke machine that looks like a normal Coke machine, but it has a slot for you to put your drink, and you have to go through the touchscreen to pick
Yep.
what drink you want, and you have to also do ice. And all I wanted was iced tea. So the tea's actually in a separate jug, and all I need is ice out of this thing, and I couldn't do it.
No,
Yeah, there's Wendy's has pretty much the same thing where they have, it's a machine and you have to go through the entire touchscreen. And this thing is elaborate. Like, you go through, like, you want root beer. All right, what flavor do you want in your root beer? What do you want? It's like, I just want a soda. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult to get a soda.
Well, this is good. This has been good.
This is terrific. I think people are probably thinking what I'm thinking. We could listen to you guys banter all evening. Some of it.
But we have parties to go to, too.
Yeah.
I know.
right,
I know.
yeah.
That's why we're gonna get ready to land the plane, as they say. We could listen to you banter. It's entertaining and it is informative. Mike, May, I hope that we see the good maps for the elevators when we all get to the summer conferences. But
Yes.
let's do.
You
before-
will at NFB.
Yeah, perfect.
Excellent.
Before we hand it back to Janine, who will take us on our descent to landing, do you want to do a lightning round? Just anything that you have not shared with us that you wish to? We'll start with Mike. Anything top of mind, excited about, surprised about, disappointed in, or be on the lookout for? There's 4 good prompts. Pick your favorite.
Yeah, I think this feels like a random conversation. I wouldn't want to lend any order to it. So I think we've covered some good stuff. There's more to see. I look forward to checking out more of the booths tomorrow and hitting some of the presentations.
Super. Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, totally second what Mike said. This has been a wonderful discussion. Hopefully, everyone's enjoyed it. I'm excited to see this escape room tomorrow. I've heard a lot about it, so looking forward to it. And thanks, everyone. Look forward to talking to you guys next time.
In that,
My quote is going to come from my keynote, which is, if you make it usable, it'll be accessible.
Love it.
Passing the
Love it.
baton over.
There you go.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat that. Troy, how are you going to beat that?
Well, I'm just going to talk about, it's a very simple thing. We're at our booth, and so many explorers have come by, and now that Aira's trying to ramp up, it reminds me that we just need to invest more in listening to our customers, because they have friggin' fantastic ideas. So this Explorer call, Sandy, one thing I thought about, we should do a future version where we just hear about great ideas and great uses of Aira, because again, as the CEO, I'm a huge curious listener, and I learned so much being at the booth. But we have thousands of customers. Like, how can we get more input, more insights about how people use it? I just learned from Matt, how you would use it with a stand. So I just think, being around people, we're human service. There's humans here. I'm in my element, having a great time.
And I want explorers to take pictures of elevator buttons and have them sent in so that all of the agents can share
Mike,
them with Troy,
can you cut the
just to
audio?
drive him crazy.
the email email address for that will be don't send photos to troy@ira.io.
That's too long, Sandy. Yeah.
Right. So
No photos allowed.
we're going to hand it back to the adult in the room, Janine.
Bye, guys.
Well,
Take care, guys. Thank you.
thank you all so much. As we prepare to land this plane, please make sure your seats and tray tables are in the upright and locked position. I always wanted to say that. Anyway, and Ryan, we've had a request for you to go an Aira live session from the escape room. So, the gauntlet has been thrown down by one of our faithful customers. Well, I would love to say that we wish we could talk to these gentlemen all night because it's been a fascinating conversation. I am less intimidated by elevators now, although I do want a video of Ryan's number 11. So that'll be the legacy of this particular CSUN. Well, there are 2 more days or a day and a half of CSUN left. If you are at CSUN, we have a demo on tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific time in the demo area. So come by. And hello out there to Fraser Alexander, all the way from New Zealand, asking about the glasses product. We will get back to you on that one, Fraser. It's not going to be anytime soon, I can tell you that. However, we will be having Aira desktops sooner than you think, as you have heard tonight. Well, it's time for the famous Braille calendar to give you the date for our next call, and that will be April 20th, Wednesday, April the 20th. And as Sandy said, we may have Savannah on to talk with you. We will be in touch with what we're going to do. I will be about to come home with my new guide dog, so I will probably try to be there, and we'll be very exciting. So this presentation tomorrow will not, we are not allowed to record from CSUN. Someone asked if our presentations would be up, but tonight's presentation will stay up on our YouTube channel. Our amazing producer Sid will trim it up for us, and we will have that on our YouTube channel. The audio will be in the podcast feed probably by Friday or maybe Thursday evening. So stay tuned for those, and stay tuned to our RSS feed for more content from our website, because I'm sure there's a lot of learning going on here at CSUN that you will see in the pages of our blog and other places.